All right, everybody, welcome to the second episode of Interview with a Killer Main. Today we have Squid. Squid, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Squid. I'm a 21-year-old Canadian Dead by Daylight enthusiast, I like to say. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Who do you main, Squid?
I am a Wraith main. I'm a Wraith main. Anybody who sees me on Twitter knows that I'm a Wraith main.
Hmm. And do you have any? Do you have a YouTube?
I don't actually. I'm thinking of making one where I just post games that I have with no commentary,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not a really big tech guy. I really don't know how to do that. I have a Twitch. I don't stream often. I'm in third year university and I have 6 classes a semester.
Oh dear
So I don't
God.
really have a lot of time to stream. But when I do it for an hour or two, but I'm riddled with ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't sit for longer than 2 hours and just talk into the void. So
It's a talent.
it is.
One I'm not very good at either, but I still managed to do it. um. And then your Twitter. What's your handle again?
My handle on Twitter is I'm pretty sure it's Squid DBD. I don't think there's an underscore. I don't memorize my own Twitter handle, but I probably should.
Fair enough.
It's just Squid DBD.
I'll have it below for anyone who wants to go
Yeah,
check
just
it
Squid
out.
DBD. Anybody who does follow me on Twitter, I'm a shit poster. I just like to say shit into the void. That's really it. Some people like it, a lot of people don't, but I'm there nonetheless.
It is what it is. All right, so into the questions. For those new to this, basically, this is more of a podcast style type of thing. We're mostly just going to be talking, but the main topic of this is going to be talking to someone who mains Wraith, get not only their perspective on Wraith, but the game as a whole. So the first question, obviously, is how long have you been playing the game?
So this is a complicated question for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm young. I'm a youngin. I'm a youngin.
Right.
I was born in 2002. So when DBD came out, I was only 14 years old, and I was a big YouTube watcher.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it on YouTube by Wrecker, H2O Delirious, all those people who played it when it originally came out. So it was immediately on my radar, but I didn't have a PC to play on, so I couldn't play it. But I was a religious watcher of it. And then I grew up 16, 17, kind of fell off my radar, and then the Demogorgon came out, and I was like, oh, I remember this game. This looks really fun, but I still didn't have a PC. And my console at the time couldn't run the game. And my parents thought it was too gory, so they wouldn't let me get it, especially the 16-year-old, very strict parents.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually did get the game right after the Twins came out and right before the Trickster came out. So that's mid 2020, I think, right as COVID was getting into the full swing of things. That's when I got my own PC and I started playing every single day.
I think that's when a lot of, I mean, for
A lot
obvious
of
reasons,
people,
a lot
yeah.
of people started playing. It's funny with me with my history with this game because I didn't even know it existed until 2020.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. A lot of people didn't really know until it started to pick up bigger licenses and just started to hit the mainstream of horror games.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been on my radar ever since it came out. It was just because I watched a lot of the Vanoss crew of what people would know them as,
Yeah,
and they played it, and Wrecker was one of the people at that time in that group, and he played it, and it just looked really fun.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, it was especially when I got into it. It was unique. I think that's what the biggest draw for me.
100%.
Very unique. Um. So why Wraith?
Okay, so
I know it's a very complex question for some people, but I know some people will have legitimate reasons. But why Wraith?
It's I don't know, it's not that complicated. So I'm on NAE servers.
Mm-hmm.
And I am mainly a killer main. I do play both sides,
Mm-hmm.
but when I play, it's usually at nighttime, because of classes and all that stuff. So the incentive is on killer.
Right.
Even before the incentive was on, I don't I don't really like to swift. I
Mm-hmm.
do enjoy it, but I don't do it often. Um, because I really don't like relying on other people in games.
Right.
I like that's why I can't play Overwatch. I just get too upset at Overwatch. So I just play killer because if I screw up, it's my fault.
Mhm.
And on NAE servers, there was no good Wraith players. I mean, there is not a lot of good Wraith players, but there was no high level or high prestige or high skill Wraith players in my server.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to play him. And I played him and I learned him and I P100 him. And now I have like probably 2,000 hours alone on Wraith.
How many hours do you have in the game total?
In total, I just hit 3K. So I have a lot of hours of my hours on Wraith.
So almost 2/3 of your gameplay in this game is just Wraith.
Is mainly just Wraith, yeah.
You didn't play him before? It wasn't really a rework, but you didn't play him before the changes, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to experience the original Wraith, unfortunately. I got to see it, but I didn't get to experience it, and I'm glad I didn't get to experience it, because from what I've heard, it was abysmal to what it was now.
Listen, I hear so many people, and I know this is a common sentiment, but I hear so many people talk about like old DBD and how good it was. I watched some of
It's
that
not
footage,
good.
and it looks miserable.
We all learned recently what old DBD was like. We all loved Hawkins, and then Hawkins got removed, and we were all crying. And then Hawkins got put back in, and we all fucking hate it.
I'm a weirdo. I like Hawkins.
I hate Hawkins on both sides with a passion.
You know,
And it's the nostalgia of the map that everybody's like, "Oh my god, Hawkins is back." No, we don't like it. No, we don't like it.
you know why I like Hawkins? It's the same reason I like RPD.
Okay, but I like RPD.
But here's the thing: in Hawkins, it's to a lesser degree. It's because the map's consistent slightly. Like you can kind of learn the layout, and not much changes, and that's why I actually.
That is fair. I do get that, and I guess that's kind of why I like RPD too, is because you can learn the layout. However, Hawkins has really no discernible markings on the walls that you can learn where it is. It all looks the same, except on one side you have the upside down.
Yeah, I don't know.
The rest, it all looks the same, and there's 2 rooms in the middle that have the exact same layout, and it's just, I can't. I try to learn it. I can't. It just makes me so frustrated. Like every single time I play Wesker, once in a while I'll play Wesker, but when I do, I always get Hawkins, and I always just M1 Wesker because there's no point. There's no point.
Well, I guess that brings me to the next question. Are there any other killers you like frequent, not necessarily like play a lot, but you enjoy playing?
So, although I do play a lot of Wraith, eventually, like I do get bored of playing like 2-3 hours of Wraith a night. Especially when I'm not getting good teams that can challenge me.
Right.
So I do dabble in other killers. I have all killers at least P5. Except for Skull Merchant, I have her about halfway through the very first prestige. So she's like level 25. Because I refuse to play her.
Right.
But I tried to play Wesker a bit. I have him P15. I'm still kind of thinking of a new killer main. I'm kind of seeing where the cards lie for that. Because I tried to main Singularity after I P100'd my Ash Williams for my Survivor a few months ago. I tried to play Singularity. I can't do that. It hurts my brain. It's too much brain power. Like I love playing Singularity, but I have to use so much of my brain to be able to play him that I'm not having fun at that point. And if I'm not having fun in a match, I'm not gonna play the match.
My tip for that, because I mained him for about 2 months, his iridescent that gives him aura reading when he places a camera down, run that. And it will, because it takes away like half of your brain from like thinking, like because
easy mode.
Well, it makes it easy, and also like when you're just when you're just chasing somebody, you can just chuck it at the loop, and you know exactly where they're going.
Yeah, I guess the killers that I probably play the most after Wraith is I really do enjoy stealth killers. Probably because my brain is kind of wired to Wraith. I really do like stealth killers. I don't really like Ghostface though. I can't use his power effectively. Um, but
I find that strange because I hear this from a lot of Wraith mains. That a lot of them say they don't like Ghostface.
I don't like Ghostface. It's probably because like we play him when we're undetectable as Ghostface. We play him like we would Wraith, where we think they can't see us,
Mm-hmm.
but they can see us, and then we get exposed, or they reveal us, and then we're like, well, shit, my power's on cooldown for the next 20 seconds, and I'm just a friggin' M1 killer. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the way I always put this, and this isn't to demean anyone who plays Wraith, but I feel like Ghostface is more methodical. If
oh,
that make
100%.
Yeah, he's more. You have to like think like 3 steps
You have to
ahead.
think of when you use your power, how to use it, where you're gonna go from.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Wraith, there is no cooldown on his power, so I understand that. But I think the top two killers that I do play outside of Wraith would be Gummy will like this. I do play a lot of Hag.
Mm-hmm.
I do play a lot of Hag, and I play a lot of Pinhead. I really, really, really like Pinhead. I know people hate Pinhead, but I really, really like because a good survivor team can outplay a Pinhead very easily,
Right.
but a very abysmal team will fall like dominoes.
Pinhead's the only killer I don't like playing.
Really,
He's the only killer I like. If I load into a match of Pinhead, it's the only one where I go,
really,
yes. He's the only one.
wow.
I don't care about the like Skull Merchant. All right, whatever. Nurse, whatever. Blight, whatever. Pinhead. I don't want to do this.
I love Pinhead, like going against him, playing as him. I love it. The only killer for me that really puts me off is Skull Merchant because I'd much rather have a 5-minute game or a 2-minute game where we all get down immediately rather than a 30-minute game. I just can't. I can't stand it. I
Right.
really can't. I was with a 4-man Swift last night. We were playing. We got Rotten Fields, and it was a Skull Merchant. All 4 of us DC'd, and we let that Skull Merchant, that P34, a non-Skull Merchant, by the way, had a 4-man bot game.
I mean, it's not too bad. I play. Everyone knows I play a lot of Chucky, but I've said this before. If you ever want a Chucky to lose, have 3 of your teammates DC. It
Yeah,
is. It
no,
is.
I hate bots.
It
I hate
is.
bots.
It is virtually impossible to play Chucky against bots
Oh yeah,
because half of his power is being short and not seen, and the bots know exactly where you are.
yeah. Well, that's actually a problem with Wraith too. Is bots will bots don't see you while you're like when you're invisible unless you get too close. But once you get too close, even if you're invisible, they will know where you are.
Right.
So like they will be oblivious to where you are until I think you're within like 10 meters or so. And once you are within those 10 meters, and if you keep chasing them, they will have an immediate lock on you, no matter if you're visible or invisible.
Mm. Yeah, the bots are good. Like I appreciate that they're good, but like I wish they weren't omniscient.
Mm-hmm.
I know how AI coding works, and it's not impossible to not do that. But yeah, whatever.
For the
Uh,
DBD devs, the spaghetti, you put one meatball into the spaghetti code of this game, and it falls apart.
Yeah, like I'm not expecting like alien isolation levels of intelligence from the AI. It's just like,
Yeah.
do they have to like know literally everything I'm doing? Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So to Wraith. So buffs, nerfs, other changes. Anything like I don't want to talk about like minor changes. Like, but is there any like add-on changes or general power changes you can think of? Nerfs, buffs, or changes otherwise that you would want to see for him?
Oh, the only issue that I have with Wraith, and it's something that I've noticed recently, it never happened before, but there is a swing bug with Wraith right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where when you're uncloaking, if you click to swing or hold the lunge, immediately after your, like literally frame perfect after your uncloak is done, it won't swing.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to let go and then swing again. But there's a slight buffer period for that. It's caught me, I think, actually in one of the games that I have recorded here. You see that happen where I uncloak and then I just walk through a pallet when I actually meant to lunge through the pallet with my speed boost, but I just end up walking through the pallet and they stun me. It's really annoying because usually when it happens is when I'd get a hit or a down. But that overall, that is my only issue with Wraith. A lot of his add-ons are really strong, or in a very good place. There are some that are useless.
So,
Like personally, the add-ons that I always run is Windstorm Blood, which is the purple Windstorm, which makes you 9% faster. And then Coxcomb Clapper, which is the eerie clapper, which makes your bell silent. A lot of people don't like Coxcomb Clapper. A lot of Wraith mains love Coxcomb Clapper.
When I play him, I usually run the aura reading one and the it's not the one that makes your bell silent. It's the one that like doesn't give it a direction.
So there's two clappers. There's Bone Clapper and Coxcomb Clapper. Coxcomb Clapper is the eerie, and that makes it completely silent. Bone Clapper makes it a universal ring with no direction.
Yeah. That's the one I prefer. Maybe it's just because of who I play against, but I think it throws people off more than the quiet one does. But
they both do. They really both work really, really well. However, I prefer Coxcomb Clapper because I play a lot more stealthy than a lot of other wraiths do. Like I don't like when I think I do it once in one of these games, and I'll talk about it when we get down later on. But a certain play style you can do with wraith is you can use Coxcomb Clapper and then come from different angles and stuff.
Right.
And if they don't hear the ring, then they won't be on edge. Right? They'll constantly be on edge if you use Silent Bell, and that's amazing because it makes them panic.
Fair enough.
But overall, all his add-ons are pretty good. Like if you like, some of them only really work in certain builds. Like if you use Shadow Dance, which is your vaulting speed, breaking speed, damaging generator. Those add-ons. Those really are good, but only for a certain build.
I mean, even his quote meme add-on isn't even not his other meme add-on. He has two, in my opinion. The one that makes it so your terror radius is still there when you're invisible. I know some people who run that on certain builds. Not to like necessarily.
The beast, the beast add-on is it does work, but you have to have a build associated with it,
right?
Or else if you don't have a build associated with it, you give away the element of surprise.
Yeah, and what's the other? I always call it a meme add-on, but it's not really a meme add-on. It's the one where is it when you break a pallet, you instantly uncloak?
Yeah, so that's the serpent. So that's a brown add-on.
Yeah,
that isn't, in my opinion, that is not a meme add-on.
No, I'm not necessarily saying it is. I'm just saying like I could see the argument for why, and I often call it one.
The only reason why a lot of wraiths don't play it, at least me as a higher level wraith, is it. Yes, you can use it, but if I'm ever going to run it, I'm going to run it with cloaking speed, where I can cloak faster. Because when you kick it, half the break animation takes away half of your speed boost from your uncloak, so you can't really get your speed boost lunge that you normally would from an uncloak. So it helps with like pallet breaking. Like if you're gonna go for shredder wraith, we can just shred through all the pallets really quickly.
It's also like a lot of survivors. If you're going up against a team that happens to be pre-dropping a lot, and like right in your face, it can often get you a hit.
But like at the level where I think MR where I'm at usually, where I get like 3-man swifts usually, they don't. Nobody pre-drops.
I wish
unless it's near the end of the game, then pre-dropping, yes. But at the start, everybody greeds pallets to save resources. So like trying to use Shredder Wraith at that high of a level is not gonna work.
Yeah, I don't want to break us into a topic of MMR, but I have no idea where my MMR is. I win 90% of my matches, and I would assume I'm pretty high, but sometimes I play against people, and I'm like, dude, am I this bad at this game? I was playing a match on stream a couple days ago. What was the map? It wasn't Gideon's. It was Garden of Joy. That's what it was. Yeah. They weren't even waiting for me to start chasing. They were just pre-dropping every pallet on the map.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Like I heard notifications, went over there, and the pallets were just pre-dropped. Like they weren't even waiting for me anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if my MMR is just that low, but like I said, I'm winning like 90% of my matches.
I do think, unfortunately, that because we do know that they changed the MMR soft cap recently.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they're still tweaking with it without telling anybody, because I was getting, like, when they first tweaked it, everybody had really good games for about a week and a half, and then everybody hit the soft cap again. And then they changed it, but like I was getting like 3-4 man swifts, all with like at least 3K, 4K, maybe even like I had someone had 7K, 8K hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden now I played a game last night and I had a P1 Dwight with 45 hours in the game.
Yeah, I
So
I play on Windows Store. This is not uncommon knowledge for people who watch me, because I'm a weirdo and got it on Game Pass for free. Also, it's cheaper on Game Pass because the iridescent cells are 20% off. Or not
crazy.
not the Erie cells, the whatever the premium currency is. It's 20%.
Orc cells.
Yeah, there's 20% off on Windows Store.
Okay.
Yeah, because of that though, I can't like check profiles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
so are you saying you're a Globe player?
Yeah, it really freaks people out too because
Yikes.
I'll start typing an in-game chat and they'll be like, "How the fuck are you typing your console?"
Yeah.
Finding someone in my matches that doesn't have a globe over their head is like finding a unicorn for me.
Okay.
Which I find odd because Game Pass, almost everyone I know has Game Pass. I'm surprised no one got the game on it at some point.
Well, usually people who have Game Pass though would like be playing on an Xbox.
Well, yeah, but there's PC Game Pass and then console Game Pass. I
guess.
It's weird. That being said, that I've told people this before too. The moment cross progression becomes a thing, I'm switching to Steam. It is just so much easier. I would like to be able to track my stuff, and you can't do that on the Windows version because Behavior doesn't integrate your profile into their servers yet. Well, they do, but like not. You can't access it. It's really stupid. All right, so Busted changes. So you legitimately just keep him the same except for that one bug.
Yeah, overall, like I said, some of his add-ons are like not great, right?
Yeah.
But he has good enough add-ons already that he doesn't need any changes of those. Like, you'll never see me like out of all the add-ons I have, I can tell you right now, in my many hours of playing Wraith, I only have 73 all-seeing spirit add-ons, which are the iridescent add-on, which lets you see the generator progress, like by the intensity of the color. I only have 73 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm never gonna run that. That's just like really bad. Because at high enough level, you should know what generators are being worked on. So like, I would never use that add-on.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't know. I've said this before because I don't run a lot of slowdown personally. Most of my builds are usually full aura reading, and I like just having information. Even if it's like intuitional information that I would have known anyways, I just like having it. I don't know, this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair though, and don't take this the wrong way, and Wraith is design-wise a very simple killer. There's not really much.
100%.
Yeah, there's not really much.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, there's not really much they could like really change about him without like completely just not destroying, but there's no way to really change him without completely making him something that he's not.
Yeah. Well, I have something to say about that, but we'll get that. We'll talk to that when we talk about like tips for new wraiths and stuff. I'll have something for that.
Right. All right. So builds. I've been watching all of these gameplays, and it looks like Sloppy Butcher, Jolt, Pain Res, Friends to the End.
Yeah, that's my main like if I'm recording a video sort of thing, or if I look at the team and like I feel like I'm gonna have a challenge, this is my go-to build. Sloppy is always good on Wraith. Like, people will always complain, oh my god, Sloppy Butcher. Sloppy is just really good on Wraith. It's really good slowdown. It keeps them off generators. If you surprise them by accident, it's usually going to meet a free down, as long as you play your cards right.
Right.
Jolt is just a really balanced slowdown perk, or regression perk. I always like to make the distinction between slowdown and regression.
Right, yeah, fair enough.
Regression perks, regress generators, slows down the pace of the game. So, Sloppy would be a slowdown perk. But the regression perks would be Jolt and Pain Res. Jolt, pretty balanced, 8% of a gen, as long as it's within 32 meters of a generator. Right? Pretty balanced. Pain Res, really strong. Also, fairly balanced on its own.
Yeah.
And then I like to use friends to the end because it punishes people for being out of position. It used to be, I forget what the other perk I used to run was, because ever since Friends of the End came out, I've been using that. But sometimes, like, if you don't have Friends of the End or don't want to use it, sometimes I use Brutal Strength instead.
Yeah.
Lethal.
Yeah, I love Lethal. Lethal's like one of my favorite perks in the game on any killer. But I can imagine it being, not imagine, I know it's really strong on Wraith because...
Yeah, finding somebody quick as Wraith is really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't expect it usually. But yeah, it's usually lethal. Like, any perks, as long as it's not a terror radius perk, work really, really, really well in Wraith. Like, I wouldn't really use Starstruck. Like, right? Like, unless you're using, like, the Beast we talked about, where it keeps your terror radius up 100% of the time. Starstruck, it really isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
However, one perk that I do like to use that a lot of people sleep on, and I really only like it on Wraith, is I really, really, really think that people sleep on Spies from the Shadows.
I actually run it on Night. Well, did run it on Night a lot. There's a lot. I think Spies from the Shadows is actually a decent perk that, like you said, really do sleep on. I don't think it's like S tier or anything, but
no, it's just a good information perk that's active all the time. It's just like Whispers, right? Like, people can use Whispers to triangulate where people are. Spies is like that, just a little bit easier.
Right.
I like to use it on Wraith, especially when I'm doing like a chiller build where I'm just trying to like have fun, go for cool clips, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just like Spies because it just gives that passive information if someone's kind of stealthing around, especially nowadays in like the distortion calm spirit kind of survivor meta. I know calm spirit doesn't really work with crows because it stops you from disturbing crows.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody runs calm spirit all the time, because I'm starting to see, at least when I play survivor, is that ultimate weapon is starting to kind of not be as prevalent.
A lot of killers I think stopped running it because everyone started running Calm Spirit.
Yeah, like aura, just aura reading is a much more reliable type of perk than ultimate weapon is.
I didn't even think about this. Does Ultimate Weapon still apply the blindness even if they don't scream?
Yes.
It still does? Okay.
Actually, if they don't scream, I don't think so. I don't think if you're not affected by it, you don't. Sorry. Yeah, if you're not affected by it, I just don't think it. I don't think it works.
I never really thought about it. It completely counters it. Huh?
I've never thought about it either, so I'm not a reliable source for that information.
I mean, it's because blindness is one of those. I made a whole video about this. Blindness is one of those status effects that no one really thinks about on either side most of the time until it's directly affecting them.
Yeah, until you realize, oh wait, someone's on hook and I don't know where they are.
Yeah, or when you accidentally get a kill because you hook somebody and they didn't realize that you hit third seal and weren't paying any attention.
Yep.
I don't. That's a whole other can of worms. Like I said, my video on it was basically talking about how the problem with blindness isn't that it's bad; it's that you have no feedback that it did anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's like I've watched one of your videos about like status effects and all that stuff, exhaustion and all that. Is that like, I agree with you. You don't know when it benefits you and when it is a disadvantage.
Yeah, and that's not saying it's like chlorophobia. Like, I think it's agreed upon. Chlorophobia is an all right perk. The thing is, most of the time, especially against people who are really good at hitting skill checks, you have no idea it's doing its job.
Yeah, unless you're getting like so many like missed skill check notifications, right?
Yeah, or if you're running whispers, you know.
Yeah.
But like that's two perks. One of them telling you they're in, whatever. It's a whole.
There's a whole bunch like septic touch, same thing. Right?
Septic touch, same thing. Thrill. I've said this for years with Gearhead. My biggest issue with Gearhead, because even before it got the change a little while ago, is that you had like the only way you knew it went off is if you happened to be looking in the direction of the person doing the gen, or you happened to be looking at the bottom right corner of your screen when it went on cooldown.
Yes, actually, thank you. That reminds me. Before Friends in the End, Gearhead was my go-to perk.
Really?
Yes, it was.
Before
it was my go-to aura perk as Wraith.
Before or after the change, or both?
Right after the change.
I mean,
when they changed it, I immediately put Gearhead on my build.
Fair. It's actually a decent perk. I feel like I don't see enough.
Yeah.
It also it also eats through distortion
It
stacks.
eats through distortion 100%. But I replaced Gearhead with Friends of the End because, like I said, Friends of the End, it's exposed for 20 seconds. Wraith can cover a map in probably about 12 seconds usually, as long as you're using Windstorm.
Right.
And as long as they're not camping a pallet and you like an uncounterable pallet, you can usually get a one shot down.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess for add-ons, you basically it's the Clapper and Windstorm for the most part.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I never take Windstorm off.
Mhm.
I'm having an issue right now where I'm running out of purple Windstorm add-ons.
Mm.
But like I take that off and I instantly feel sluggish. Like I don't feel like I can play normally because I don't have that 9%. Wraith moves at 150% on cloaked.
Mhm.
So with that 9%, he's moving at 159, and I need that 9%.
Why is
I
it?
need it.
Why isn't it just 10%?
I don't know actually. I really don't know because purple windstorm is 9 and green windstorm is 7. And then yellow windstorm is 5.
What?
I don't know why we have 3 add-ons for it, but
Why not just make it 5, 10, and 3 or some? I don't know.
yeah.
Behavior in their numbers sometimes. Um. So just pretty much. I mean, I'm sure you switch up the build every now and again. I mean, just for the hell of it sometimes.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, like for everybody, builds eventually go pretty stale.
Mm-hmm.
But usually, especially right now in the meta that we're in right now, you will usually always see me run on most killers will be Jolt and Pain Res, as long as it's an M1 killer.
Right.
Because they're just pretty like there's pillars in the regression perks, right? They're balanced, they're fair, and they're strong, right?
Yeah, I think for the most part. Any thoughts on the Mangled changes? They haven't said what they're doing yet, but
I don't know what they're doing.
neither. I don't think anyone does. I legitimately.
However, I'm not really I don't really care about Mangled as much, especially with Sloppy Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
My main thing is Hemorrhage.
Hammer just. I mean, they said it's staying the same. So
Yeah, because if you can interrupt a heal as Wraith, with Hemorrhage it goes back to 0.
Mm-hmm.
That extra 25% is it only makes a 16-second heal a 20-second heal.
My fear, and I don't know who I was talking to about this, is what they're gonna do to Mangled is instead of it increasing your healing speed or increasing how long it takes to heal. I think instead of doing that, what they're gonna make it do is it increases how often skill checks show up.
Well, that could be beneficial as long as you're good at hitting skill checks.
That's what I'm saying. Like I knowing behavior's history on changing some things, I have a feeling that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Mangled getting changed. Mangled adding those 4 seconds, like yes, that does add up over the course of a game.
Mm-hmm.
But Hemorrhage is really the main thing as a Wraith player. Hemorrhage is the thing that is going to help you more than Mangled will.
Yeah, I think Wraith is one of those cases of he's a killer who can take a lot of advantage out of Hemorrhage. A lot of a lot of other killers really can't, and when they do, they don't really notice when they do.
Yep.
I think Chucky's a good example because I've rewatched matches from the Survivor side after I play them sometimes because other people stream, and the amount of times Hemorrhage has actually gotten a lot of use just from me activating Heidi Ho because the footsteps go off. Is insane. It happens way more than you would think it would, but I never see it. I never notice. But with Wraith, it's like you can zoom across the map to a general location of where they are, even if you don't see anyone, but you think someone's there, and you just clap. Well, you're running silent clapper. Never mind, but in general, but you know what I mean, though, right? Like you can.
No, I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like if you, because within 40 meters of Wraith cloaking, you can hear him whoosh as he cloaks. I think it's within 20 meters you hear the bell ring.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 20. It could be a little bit more. But if you're running, like if you're not running any clapper, like you're just like no bone clapper, no coxcomb clapper, and you get within 20 meters of someone healing, you could do that. Like I see a lot of Wraiths will run sloppy and a nurse is calling. That works really well. to interrupt heals. However, you got to know where people are going to go to heal, because if they realize you're running those perks, they're going to go edge map, and they're just going to heal edge map.
Mm-hmm.
So
no barbecue and chili, by the way.
I did used to run barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
I did before they changed it, and then I tried to keep running it. However, as maps came out and they got bigger and bigger, it just didn't quite make sense to run all the way across the map to that one person on a generator that's in the corner of a map when I could patrol the generators that are nearby the hook.
Fair enough.
Right. I don't proxy camp unless I need to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tunnel unless I need to. I do that stuff. All killers do it. All good killers do that stuff, but we only do it when we need to.
I used to. I don't anymore.
Like, I don't come into a match and say, all right, I'm gonna tunnel you.
Yeah,
all
fair
right,
enough.
I'm gonna camp you. I don't do that. Only time I do it is if it gives me a major advantage in the game.
9 times out of 10, if I tunnel or camp, it's because 9 times out of 10 if I tunnel, because I play to win, but like I'm not like super hard like I used to be.
Yep.
But if I tunnel 9 times out of 10, it's because I went back to hook because I have no idea where anyone else is.
Yeah, and that I do that as well.
And
if I don't find anybody or don't see anybody, I'm gonna come back to hook to chase the unhooker.
Yeah, and then the unhooker hides, and then I'm like, well, sorry, dude.
Yeah,
I would like to do something, you know.
Yeah, the only time I do tunnel is if they the unhooked, the person that just came off hook, body blocks.
Mm-hmm.
If they body block and you give me that free hit and the unhooker is already gone, I'm gonna go for you, homie. Sorry. It's just you gave me a free hit, you don't have BT anymore. Right? You're going right back up on that meat hook.
Yeah.
And the only other time I will tunnel is if they use an Eerie of Crows map offering.
Fair.
Those are the only two instances that I will tunnel.
Well, speaking of tunneling and camping, state of the game overall, and you said you play both sides, so I'm assuming
I do play both sides.
So because if you were to check a lot of the YouTubes and Twitter and even the forums, because I'm on there because I'm an insane person, you would think this game is in the worst place it's ever been in years.
We, as a community, we say that every single time.
I know.
We say that every single time. We say this is the worst the game's been. No, it's not.
Listen. I talk about this a lot because it blows people's minds when I say this. I'm almost 30. I have been in Rainbow Six Siege's community for years. I was in the League of Legends community for years.
Even more ew.
I was in the Overwatch community for years. I was in the Apex community for years. You know what every single one of them said every single patch?
This is the worst this game's ever been.
Yes, every single game does it, and I hate it so much.
I know this is not the game we're talking about, but if anybody saw the recent Overwatch changes, where every single role is getting a passive healing, I really hope you no longer play Overwatch after that, because it's going to make the game so bad.
I actually like that change.
Not to change the topic from DBD and Wraith, but I'm just saying that into the void.
Yeah, listen, we're not gonna get into it. I'm just gonna say I actually kind of like that change.
Yikes!
I actually super like that change.
Oof.
And I'm a Mercy main, so.
Oh, of course you are too. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, state of the game. I like I said, I didn't play back in the day. I only started playing in 2020 when Nemi came out. But I still do think this is the best the game's been. On so many levels. It's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I tell people this all the time. When I say that, I'm not saying this is perfect. There's nothing they could make better. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying of the 3 years I played this game, this is the most fun I've had. Is these past few months.
I would say that it's, and a lot of people have said this before, is that an asymmetrical game is impossible to balance.
Of course.
You can never make it balanced for on site, because if it is completely balanced, it's not fun. That's the whole thing.
Right.
However, right now there are some big problems on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But there always will be, and there always has been. Right? Before the big meta shakeup, it was Oh god, I don't even remember. I played too much of this game. It was what? For killer, it was corrupt, ruin, undying,
Uh, Knockout was in
pain,
there. Pain res.
like
Yeah.
ruin, undying, pain res was almost in every single build, because it was just strong.
Hmm.
And then survivor was dead hard, DS, adrenaline,
Unbreakable.
unbreakable, right?
Yeah, it was. It,
Like
it was.
there always will be metas. There always will be, and right now, unfortunately, it's like what same thing with like eruption. Oh my god, what was it? Eruption Colorbrine,
Eruption
right?
Colubrine.
Like
Overbrine.
overcharge.
Overcharge. Yeah.
Yeah, overbrine. Now it's pop pain res, right?
Right.
If you can pop pain res a gen, you're getting rid of 50% of a generator by just getting a hook.
I've talked about this before. I think what the biggest problem, and this is why, and don't get me wrong, you're right. The metas will develop. Obviously, that's just how the internet works now. They even existed, and I hate the excuse people are like, "Oh, back in the day, we didn't." Yes, we did. We just didn't think about it as much. That's the
Yeah,
only difference. Um, there's a lot of perks in this game, like pain res, pop, even sloppy butcher, which I wouldn't call like super meta, but you know what I mean.
it is. I do say Sloppy Butcher is meta. It works on every single killer.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying like it's not like the most like I don't think it's so OP to the point, or I don't even think Scourge Hook or Pop are either. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically the point I'm making is I think a lot of perks in this game are either too situational or always good.
Yeah.
And I think I've always said I think that's a problem.
Yeah. Like I was saying, like killer on killer side you got pain res pop, right? It's always good. You can never go wrong with using it. However, it is usually, and I do say this and I say it in the games that I play in the end game chats, is that killers who use pain res pop don't like playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You use it to handhold you through your game, especially when you use it on high tier killers. Nurse, frankly, doesn't really need it. You do well enough, right? Blights are the worst offenders of this. I don't get many spirits, but when I do, I usually cry because I hate playing against spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing. But then on the other side of the spectrum for survivors right now, your big issue is for the people in Buckle Up.
Right.
And I think that out of all the survivor metas we've had, I think For the People Buckle Up is probably the most unhealthy we've ever had. Only because there is no counterplay against it.
Yeah, because I mean, at least with DS Unbreakable, you could just wait it out.
Exactly. Like right now, the problem is that you hit somebody, and during your wipe animation, their Swift shows up, and For the People Buckle Ups them, and then they both have endurance for 10 seconds, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just like you can't counter that unless you have Save the Best for Last. But everybody is not a big fan of Save the Best for Last.
I actually thought of a solution that I don't know if anyone would hate. Just make it so for the people you have to heal for 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Just do that.
It's such a simple change.
I
Right?
I don't think it would affect the perk itself too much. Like,
All that would do is that would help fight against the slugging meta, and that would be perfect. That would be perfect because if a killer is slugging and someone has these perks, it's a situational place. It's a situational perk, yes, but it's a strong combination for that scenario. However, right now it is probably, in my opinion, the most unhealthy perk combo we've had. Um, this is being recorded. What's the date today?
the 14th.
On the 14th at midnight. So the 15th, 14th.
Mm-hmm.
On yesterday, so on the 13th, I had a Twitter spat with somebody over For the People Buckle Up because they posted a video on Twitter of them going down at the exit gate and then getting For the People Buckle Up by their Nicolas Cage Swift, and they
know,
get out.
I know this clip.
Yeah, you probably saw it from me specifically. Anyways, in the caption they said this demo got shit on. No, you did not shit on this killer. If you use For the People Buckle Up, you're not shitting on anybody, right? You are using very strong, uncounterable perks to get an advantage. That's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong to use those perks. They're in the game, right? Everybody can use them.
Mm-hmm.
However, you cannot say that you outplayed somebody by just pressing E on to somebody that's on the ground. That's not how that works.
Yeah, I mean that's a listen. I have a YouTube. I like to hear everybody's opinions. I legitimately do. But some people just I don't know how some people come to
Some people have opinions, but not all opinions need to be shared.
I remember I took a business seminar in college a few years ago, and I remember when the first thing that professor or speaker or whatever you want to call him said was, "Not everyone's opinion is valid. You're going to listen to me today, and if you have any questions, I'll take them into consideration."
Exactly.
That was exactly. He didn't say he'd answer him. He said he'd take them into consideration.
Yeah, exactly.
But and that's not to say like the things. Who was it who said it a couple weeks ago? Was it Spooky Loops or Spook and Jukes?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to spook and jokes.
It was someone who said, and I don't want to start beef with him. Obviously, I don't know him as a person, but he basically said like if you don't understand why Chucky being able to scamper and immediately get a hit on somebody isn't bad for the game. He doesn't care about your opinion, and I was like, okay, that might be taking it a bit too far.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Yeah, but that conversation has kind of died down because a lot of people have stopped playing Chucky. There are still some people that play a lot of Chucky. Like I met somebody there about 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's a P100 Chucky.
I'm P32 right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
But like to be able to go into your power and scamper under pallet right away and then get a hit. Yeah, it's unhealthy, but it's like, yes, it's a problem. It's not that big of a problem.
It is counterable, but people don't like what the counter is.
Exactly. Right?
The counter is don't drop the pallet.
Exactly. Just don't drop the pallet. Take the hit and run.
Well, no. If you don't drop the pallet, depending on the loop, a lot of times he can't even slice and dice at the loop.
That is true.
So, yeah, and true. I can't believe people forget this. He is 110.
Yeah, he's slow.
There, Gas Haven, the convenience store where the generator usually spawns.
Yeah.
If that wall is broken, if you run that loop correctly, he physically cannot catch up to you.
Yep.
There's nothing he can do. There's a lot of the main buildings in this game. Chucky cannot do anything to you.
Yep.
Anyways, that's all the.
Yeah. Anyways, not about Chucky.
What were we even talking about?
We were on state of the game.
Oh yes,
I think we've covered state of the game.
Yeah, basically, I think it's in an okay spot. There are some things that need to be fixed, obviously.
Yeah.
For the people buckle up, I think the killer meta. While I do think it's fine, I am always an advocate for things getting changed up. I actually kind of hope Grim Embrace changes things a little bit.
Yeah, I honestly think a very easy fix for all this would other than for the people buckle up, but for like the speed of the games, would be to make generators 95 seconds. I think adding an extra 25 seconds or an extra either making them 95 seconds or 100 seconds. It could help. However, that's a very finicky change because you add too much and then it's way too difficult.
It's not even difficult. It's just it gets really fucking boring.
Yeah, really.
I mean, that's the thing with, and this is something I don't like to mention or talk about because I will get fucking reamed if I ever say it to somebody. Fun is literally the most impossible thing to actually balance for because of how subjective it is.
Yeah.
Some people like me actually enjoy generators.
Yeah.
So
no, I get that. Like some people really actually do enjoy Skull Merchant.
Yeah.
Do I think they're psychotic? 100%. Like 100%. Do I enjoy going against Skull Merchant? No way. I don't think any killer should be able to press M2 and then get haste and hinder and undetectable. Mm-hmm. That should not happen. Right? But some people generally enjoy her. I really enjoy Wraith. Some people hate playing Wraith. Some people really, really hate going against Wraith.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I've met really, really hate Wraith, but that is because, especially we'll get into it, like I said, when we get to tips for new Wraiths, is that a lot of Wraiths, the unexperienced Wraiths, or people who just play Wraith to play Wraith, play really scummy. But
Yeah, I mean that comes out of killer stereotypes and all
that too,
that.
that
Yeah.
too. But
um.
anyways, we should probably
Yeah.
move on
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
next one.
Speaking of, okay, all right. So the tips are coming up, but power level. As far as where you think Wraith sits on the tier list, you
So
personally.
yeah, me personally. So I just watched as of like literally today, Otts
I
put
did.
out a new tier list video.
I did. I watched it earlier as well.
I did watch it. I do agree that where Wraith is, high B, very average killer.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, 100%.
I think. You know how people often say like Demo is the most average killer in the game.
Yeah,
I actually disagree. I do legitimately think it's Wraith.
I do think Wraith is your absolute middle of the road killer.
And the reason, the reason I think that is because of how his power works. Once
Yeah,
again,
100%.
that's not to discount anyone who's like really good at Wraith. Obviously, I'm just saying at the end of the day, his power is
It's very simple.
cloak and
Right?
uncloak.
You cloak, uncloak, cloak, uncloak, cloak, uncloak.
Yeah.
Very simple at face level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. Demo, yes, it is simple in terms, but like you need to learn the hitbox. You need to like same thing as upper level race. Like you need to learn the hitboxes and everything. But like demo shred is like really, really, really strong
Mm-hmm.
and can be used. And like we've all seen videos of Monster Kill or Demo X Dog, right? Like all those people who play demo religiously,
Mm-hmm.
like do like crazy like friggin' sky demo shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like that. That does not make you middle of the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of balance, I think Demo is still right in the middle. But I think in terms of
balance, yes,
yeah,
balance, yes. But on a tier list, demo I believe is higher than Wraith.
yeah,
Yeah, Wraith is middle of the pack, high B, right?
that's
That's where he is. That's where he has been for a long time. I don't see him moving anytime soon.
yeah. I think it's about where I'd put him too, and I think it's fine.
It's where a lot of killers should be.
Yes.
Is where Wraith is. That's where all killers should be.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there is what now like 36 killers in the game.
37, I think, with Chucky.
37.
I could be wrong. I can't math.
It's really hard to keep them all, especially making powers unique and different from previous ones. Right? You're not going to be able to keep them all at the same level. It's just how the game works.
Yeah, and plus you got to keep them interesting.
And you got to keep them interesting, right? Especially like what Wraith, Trapper. I mean, poor Trapper, but like Wraith, Trapper, Billy, Nerfs have been in the game since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It has been almost 8 years since they've been in the game, and a lot of people, like as we see in the PTV that just happened, people still love Billy. It's been 8 years, and people still love that killer, right?
Yeah.
So every single killer has to stand the test of time. Unfortunately, some don't, as we've seen with our favorite basement boiler room dwelling weirdo, Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Poor Michael Myers, same thing.
I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I think Freddy needs it more than Myers does.
Oh my god, no, 100%. Freddy does need it more than Myers does. But like those two don't stand the test of time, right?
Yeah.
Clown the same way, not in the sense of his power, but in like accessibility issues. Doesn't really stand the test of time there.
I mean, I'm a Clown main, and was a Clown main, and my biggest advocacy for him was get rid of the blur effect. And my suggestion is, if you want to keep it to make them feel disoriented, make it reverse their controls.
Oh, that is good. However, you would have to limit his bottles or slow down reload time, because if he had 6 bottles to throw at you.
But here's the thing, and this is why I like that as opposed to the distortion. One, the problem with the disorienting effect is that if survivors are used to it, it really doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But if you reverse controls, one, it will actually mess people up, and two, if you're good enough at predicting exactly when you're going to go through or get hit by the cloud, you can play against it like it's not even affecting you.
Yeah.
And and I think that's fine. You're still slowed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Whatever. That's it's clown.
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever.
I'll get to that
Double
when
clown.
I'll get to that when Aaron adds on the show. I'm sure at some point.
Yeah.
All right. Tips for new wraiths. And
All right.
when I say new wraiths, I don't mean like people just booting up the game. I mean like people who have been playing for a little bit. Like, you know what? I really want to get good at wraith.
Okay. For the love of God, whenever anybody listening who wants to play Wraith, for the love of God, do not hunnel off hook. Do not. It just doesn't work well with Wraith because in the end, when you boil Wraith down, he is an M1 killer.
Mm-hmm.
He has a little bit of anti-loop with his power. We'll get that when we come to how to play him, but Wraith is an M1 killer at the base. You get destroyed by anybody with a brain. That's just how it is. They pre-drop that pallet, you gotta break it. Right? Anybody who's looking to play Wraith, you just don't. Any good survivor will be able to run you forever. You need to be able to learn that. Right?
I'm just gonna add and this is a general M1 killer tip. If you are vetting the survivors and you notice that one is really good at predicting mind games, stop mind gaming them, please, and just run them down.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, if they're good, it will actually work way better.
Yeah. Some other tips that I have for people that are looking to play Wraith. You need to learn the lunge hitbox.
Mm-hmm.
How far you can lunge out of cloak. Actually, in some of the videos that I have here, you'll see some lunge hits that I get that do not look like they hit because I hit them at the very edge of the hitbox. It's a little bit longer than it would be with a normal hit, and you need to be able to learn that. You also need to learn what tiles you can glide around while you lunge.
Right.
It's a little different than Oni's Demon Dash, where he slides completely. You'll see it, like I said, in some of the videos I have. You'll see me uncloak next to a wall. There's actually a clip that I posted on Twitter that's in here. It's on Shelter Woods, and I see a Cheryl with Friends of the End, and I come up on a wide angle, and then I uncloak next to a wall, and I swing around the pallet at Mach 6, and I dome her, right? You need to learn how to glide around that stuff and what you can and cannot glide around. Two other things that I have, these are pretty basic, but they do help. You need to know that Wraith can be heard within 8 meters by his snarling sound. Yeah, which is, by the way, a little fun fact, Wraith and Hillbilly have the exact same snarling sound. Wraith's is just a little sped up and a little bit of a different pitch. It's the exact same snarling sound, though. If you listen to them back to back, you'll know they're the exact same snarling sound.
It's almost like they just grabbed someone and put him into the booth. It's almost like that's totally what they did back in the day.
Yeah. So you need to learn that, and any survivor, any good survivor that knows they're going against a Wraith will listen to that. However, generators, high progress generators usually do mask that sound. As they're going too fast to be able to hear it, and it kind of matches the same speed of the snarl. But always a good thing to know. And the last thing that I always like to do is if you use aura reading perks like Barbecue and Chili, Friends of the End, Floods of Rage, anything, and you see somebody working on a generator, especially after you hook somebody, do not draw a straight line from where you are to that generator. That survivor is going to expect you to come from that direction. You need to go as wide as possible and go edge map and come up from behind the survivor.
I think that's a general. I would say that's a general stealth playstyle, and
it is a general stealth playstyle.
Not just in this game, in any game, you never want to take
It is. However, it's really, really easy with Wraith because he's fast, and you can get there way faster than they expect you to, and then catch them off guard.
Right.
When I use Coxcomb Clapper, I get a lot of grabs off generators, a lot. Right? You need to know how to do that, and how to play around that, and it'll benefit you. I guess the last, very, very, very last tip that I have for new Wraiths is Wraith's terror radius after recloaking stays for 2.5 seconds. His red stain stays as well. for 2.5 seconds after you cloak. So the whoosh will happen, and that whoosh is about a second long, and then about another second and a half, maybe a second and a quarter after that, his tear radius and his red stain are still visible.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know, especially when sneaking up on somebody, that you need to wait for that to happen before you approach them. Because if you approach them and they're within those 32 meters, they're going to know you're coming towards them and they're going to run. So you need to remember that after you cloak, give yourself about 2 seconds after you cloak before you start approaching where you're going to go, so you don't give away your position.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Those are pretty basic tips. Like, there are way, way, way more higher level tips that, like, I would need to do like a one-on-one with somebody and show them how I play and show them the tip as we go. But those are pretty basic tips.
Like, did you know after vaulting the specific window, your lunge range is actually increased by 25%, so you can like stuff like that.
Yeah, like really stuff like that. Like really intense stuff that you wouldn't know unless like you're like really, really into the game.
Yeah, of course. And then tips for playing against Wraith. I know he's a basic M1 killer. However, I know there are specific things other than the gargle. Which is the biggest thing. I actually didn't realize this was such an unknown thing, was the gargle. I have a lot of, because I mention it sometimes on stream and people are like, what?
Yeah. Yep. Main thing, because I do it when I play against Wraith, and I love playing against Wraiths because I know this killer in and out. I know everything about him. I know how he works, and I know how to counter him because it happens to me. If a Wraith is cloaked, don't stun him with a pallet. It does make it longer. Like the uncloak or the stun, it does make it longer. I don't think now it might be a bug, but it used to, when you get stunned, you used to get uncloaked while getting stunned. Like if you got stunned, you would get stunned for 3.5 seconds, I believe. And uncloaked. Now, at least when I get stunned while cloaked, I still stay cloaked.
They might have changed that when they did the Lightburn changes.
Yeah. So now I stay cloaked, but the stunned time is still the same. The best thing to do play against a Wraith is to pre-drop a pallet and then spam spacebar. Don't sprint. Spam spacebar to slow vault over the pallet or the window, over and over and over and over and over and over again. This forces the Wraith to uncloak and then break the pallet. It screws up a lot of Wraiths because they expect you to do it and then vault or whatever, and then they'll be spamming spacebar the same thing. You don't have to spam spacebar and sprint. You don't have to do fast vaults. Do slow vaults. They take longer. It wastes more time. And then the Wraith will start to uncloak. When he starts to uncloak, he hits his bell twice, and then there's a big, fast whoosh of smoke up from his feet up to his head. Right as that whoosh starts of that smoke is when he can hit you. So see the second bell hit and then run. Usually, what Wraiths will do is that they will fake uncloak to then break the pallet. So just keep vaulting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until they fully uncloak, and then they have to break the pallet and then recloak again. That's really the main tip against Wraith. Other than that, he's a basic M1 killer. You can loop him the same. Just be careful of his lunge, right? A Wraith can lunge from the far shack door all the way to the window and still hit you if he's coming out of cloak. So just be careful of that stuff.
Yeah, the biggest, and this is just from someone who plays a lot of killer mostly, not too much Wraith, but the biggest thing, and this is something a lot of people I know who play Survivor tend to do, when Wraith is invisible, you don't have to be as terrified.
Yeah, no. Wraith, when he's invisible, is a squishy teddy bear.
He literally can't do any. He can break a pallet, he can pop a gem. That's about all he can do.
Yeah, and I guess this is something. This is a tip for Wraiths who are a little bit more experienced. Even then, it's a pretty well-known thing, but you just need to learn how to do it properly. Is that Wraith is still a physical being when he's invisible, unlike Spirit. Spirit is not physical, like she can just move around. Wraith is still there, so he can body block pallets, body block windows.
Right.
That is the main reason why I use Purple Windstorm. because it lets me get in front of the survivor faster to block them from hitting a window, block them from hitting a pallet. And a lot of survivors won't see you get in front of them and they'll run into you. So it wastes time. So that's something that takes a little bit more experience to do it effectively. All Wraiths can do it out the door, but to do it effectively and properly and not get stunned by a pallet by accident or the survivor realizes you're doing it and they run away takes a little bit of practice, but all Wraiths can do that, but it's a little harder to do it without running Windstorm.
Right. All right. So next question, and this is just convenient that I had two killers that happened to get affected by this. Thoughts on the Lightburn changes they did a little while ago?
I miss Lightburn.
You miss
so
it?
Much. I miss Lightburn so much.
Why?
So much. As a Wraith, Lightburn was the only thing that I actually had to think about to outplay.
Okay, that's a fair point. All right.
I miss it. I miss the counterplay. I miss the whole I'm running at a survivor, they turn around, start beaming me, or they run around a corner and their friend is there with a beam. It added extra counterplay to Wraith. That just it made it more fun, and it made getting light burned a lot more punishing. It was fun because if you screwed up and you got light burned, it's your own damn fault, right? That's just how it is.
I not all the time, in my opinion, but yeah, most of the time, yes.
Most of the time, it is your fault. Sometimes they have range add-ons that can light burn you from super far away.
I just have a very very core memory of playing Wraith on Coldwind once, and the entire squad had ranged flashlights.
Yeah.
And head on, and I literally was not allowed to play the game.
I do miss Lightburn a lot. I with Nerfs it was a little harder to use, but with Wraith I really liked it. I really liked it. Unless they had flashbangs. The range on flashbangs is about double the range that you can see. Excuse me, in game. The range of the light that you see, it's about double that as the actual range of the flashbang.
Oh
so
yeah,
you could see someone drop a flashbang, and you could be so far away from that flashbang and still get light burned, and you're just slam your fists on your desk or punch a hole through your monitor because you're I was nowhere near that. But overall, I really do miss the Lightburn changes. I wish they would bring them back. When they took that away, I was like, yes, it is a buff for Wraith and for Nurse, but it was really the only really fun counterplay that a lot of people had for it, other than pre-dropping pallets and holding W. Right?
Yeah, I think the reason they got rid of it, and because I know a lot of people on both sides were kind of sad they got rid of it on some killers. I think the big reason for it was just consistency's sake.
Yeah,
because
100%.
It's okay, so flashlights affect Wraith, Hag, Artist, and Nurse. Why don't they do anything to any other killer? Right? I think that's what it came down to. It was just, not to say it was a bad design, but it's definitely a relic of an older era of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I do miss it overall. But that actually kind of made me think of something else that I had. Just kind of stepping back one question to the tips about Wraith and stuff. When you play Wraith and you're playing on a pallet, an undropped pallet, you always want to take pallet side. That's usually a rule of thumb for most killers, is you want to play pallet side. You want to be on the pallet and you want the survivor to be on the other side of the pallet. With Wraith, the best thing you can do there is to cloak and then uncloak and use your speed boost to hit around the side. However, really good survivors, when they see you cloak and then start to uncloak, is that they're just going to hold W to a different loop. It happens a lot to me because I do it all the time, and you'll see it in the games. And sometimes they just hold W, and then you just have to keep chasing.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, back to Lightburn. I really do miss it. It was really fun. I hope that someday they bring it back, but I don't think they will.
I could maybe see an Eerie add-on where it's the downside or something. If they ever change the generator one to something else, I could see it maybe being the downside is you can be light burned.
Yeah. However, I do have to say, consistency wise, with Wraith specifically and only Wraith, is that if you were cloaked and you kicked a generator that had blast mine on it, you would get stunned for so long. I think the stun was actually 5.5 seconds because the stun with Blast Mine already is really long. I think it's 3 seconds. But with Wraith, when you're cloaked, the stun is doubled.
Right.
So you're getting stunned, blinded for like 4 seconds and stunned for 6.
Right.
And then uncloaked at the same time because that's what Lightburn did. So that really sucked and felt like there was no counterplay other than like to not kick generators, but you never know when you're gonna get blast mined. So
Yeah. So maps. Now, after watching some of the gameplay, other than the Orman one that's been on loop, is you like to go to Shelter Woods? It seems.
well, what I did for the games I recorded for this, I specifically put on a balanced map.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
I put on Macmillan offerings. Did I send you the Eerie video? Eerie Crows? I think there's one video that I sent. Did I
don't
not?
think I got it. I only have the 3. I have Ormond, Shelter, and 2 Shelter Woods ones.
Okay, so yeah, so Ormond. Okay, that's fine. So the race really only 2 bad maps are Ormond and Eerie of Crows.
That sounds like 90% of killers.
Yeah. So Wraith is a stealth killer, right?
Right.
Pretty obvious. Element of surprise is a big thing. High walls are your best friend. Hiding behind stuff is easy. I know how to play Ormond and I know how to play Eerie of Crows, so I can do pretty well on that. But for any new Wraith or unexperienced Wraith who's trying to who's playing on these maps, you are going to have the worst game of your life.
Right.
Ormond's a little easier than Eerie of Crows because less pallets overall. But they are both brutal maps. Like I said earlier, I will tunnel anybody who brings an Eerie of Crows offering. It is my worst map overall. It is any Wraith's worst map usually. There's so many pallets. A lot of them are really safe. And it's just really, really hard to play on Eerie of Crows as Wraith. Well, that's my worst map. Ormond is... I'm pretty good on Ormond actually as Wraith, but for just a newer Wraith, Ormond's could be really hard. My favorite maps usually would be any indoor map, right?
Midwich. What, Gideon's?
I don't mind Gideon as Wraith. I don't. However, it is pallet simulator.
Of course.
But the thing with Gideon as Wraith is that you need to get as many pallets down as possible, as fast as possible. Usually when I play Wraith and I'm on Gideon, as I will just chase somebody and make them, like, I won't even go for the down. Yes, I might lose 3 generators, but I want them to break as many pallets as possible, or drop as many pallets as possible and then break them, so that in the end game or the late game, I can get easy hits all the time.
Right.
Midwich is really easy, right? Makes sense. Grave of Glendale, which is Dead Dog Saloon.
Okay, I was like, what the fuck? What map is that?
Yeah, Grave of Glendale is that's the realm. That's the realm. The actual map. The map is Dead Dog Saloon. Okay. That's a really good map for Wraith. That's usually Wraith's comp map. Like if you're gonna play comp DBD, the Dead Dog Saloon is usually Wraith's go-to map for that. RPD is an easy win always.
I mean, for most stealth killers, it is, honestly.
For most stealth killers, it is. A lot of the other maps are pretty, like, bog standard. Hawkins is okay. I don't like Hawkins as Wraith. Like I said, Hawkins, I think now that it's back, is probably worse than Gideon for Pallet Simulator. Because there's so many pallets. If you play on Hawkins as Wraith or any killer with Zancian Tactics or a Survivor as with Windows of Opportunity, your whole fucking screen is yellow.
I was playing Garden of Joy the other day, and they were pre-dropping pallets all the time. It got to a point to where I kind of stopped playing and I just went around counting. Would you like me to tell you how many pallets I found on Garden of Joy?
19.
28.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yep, 5 of them were on the street.
Yeah. Yeah, overall maps for Wraith is probably, I think, in the game the least map dependent killer we have. He is very, very good on most maps.
I mean, yeah. Other than I would say like maybe 2 stories, but even then because it's so fast.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on who's playing and what your skill level is.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only map that I really don't like playing on is Eyrie of Crows.
Hmm.
Every other map I do enjoy playing on. I'm one of the masochist killer mains that I really like Springwood, which is the
Bad
night
ham. Yeah.
yeah, Bad Hand Preschool 1 through 5. I really like that map or those maps. I know they're not very balanced for killer, but
Is it weird that I hate bad ham so much that I know the exact realm I hate the most? It's number 3. I
wait,
know
which one is that?
that's the one with this with the school, House of Pain, the standard house with the gen on top, and Shack right next to it.
Shack right next to it. What's the layout of it? Where is everything?
Like it's school. House of Pain is to the right of the school. Like if you're looking at the front, there's another building behind you with a gen in it, and then Shack is directly in front of the front door of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that is Bad Him 3 for those who don't know. I fucking hate that specific version of that map. Uh,
Yeah. So like maps are pretty good for Wraith. If you really want a balanced map for Wraith, Macmillan's or Azerov's pretty good. Cold Wind is okay. However, Cold Wind does not have a lot of high walls you can hide behind because there's a lot of corn.
does the corn
Um,
help or hurt?
it hurts in my opinion
Okay.
because Wraith is, like I said before, Wraith is still physical while he's uncloaked. The corn does move.
Mm-hmm.
So any survivor who's paying attention will see the corn moving from a mile away and they will run.
Yeah.
Um, but Rotten Fields is a pretty good map for Wraith. It's a pretty good map for a lot of killers
Mm-hmm.
because there's like 6 pallets max on the map.
Swamp.
I like Swamp. Um,
I've been playing Chucky so much, I fucking despise Swamp.
I do like Swamp as Wraith. But like I said, I've been playing this killer so long. I know how to play all the maps. I know how to play every single tile and realm specific tiles.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's not a problem. But for someone who's picking up the killer or has only spent maybe 20, 30 hours playing the killer, you're gonna have a hard time with some maps. But it just takes practice to get better.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been the 3 maps I'm starting to hate now. I used to love RPD. Chucky's miserable in RPD.
Yep.
I used to like Swamp. Chucky is miserable in Swamp because the grass is so tall. It doesn't matter. You can't. It doesn't matter that you're in third person. You still can't see anything. And it's the same thing with Coldwind.
Yeah.
Also, scratch marks are so frustrating on Coldwind, in my opinion.
Yeah. Freddy killer.
What is that? I guess it's gonna be a weird one because you don't seem like a lore head. But any thoughts on Wraith's lore at all?
I mean, the lore's okay. Like, I am a lore person.
Mm-hmm.
I do like lore for a lot of things. Like I'm a big Star Wars nerd as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot about Star Wars lore, a lot about Star Wars Legends. Same thing with Marvel. I know a lot of people don't like Marvel right now. I'm not a big fan of Marvel right now either, but I know all the Marvel lore, not the comics, but like MCU lore, all that stuff.
Right.
I've never was a comics person. I just can't get into them. But like Wraith's lore it's pretty, it's just bog standard, right?
Yeah.
It's good. It's not bad. It is good. But it does not really stand the test of time compared to a lot of the new killers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tragic story, right? It's a
I'm.
good story. He wasn't a bad guy. He just worked for a bad person and then went into a fit of rage when he was tricked by this person to kill people.
I, I'm gonna say something. I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I actually think Wraith's story is too sympathetic.
It is. It really is.
I think it's because I mean, like he was a bad guy. He tried to change his life, and then he gets tricked into still being a bad guy. Then he kills his boss.
Kills his boss. By the way, kills his boss. Rips out his skull and spine.
Uses it as a weapon.
And uses it as his weapon. Wraith's base weapon is Azarov, who's his boss. It's his skull and spine affixed to an axe. So, and when you swing, when you swing it, the bones rattle, and that's what that noise is. It's also Wraith like grunting, and you hear his like gurgle,
Mm-hmm.
but it's mainly the bones you hear rattling as you swing. Yeah.
So this is a weird
So
this is a weird one attached to the lore, by the way. It just popped in my head. Any thoughts on the Nurse X Wraith?
okay, so funny story about that is I actually just bought for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
People might have saw it on Twitter. I got 2 new mouse pads. I got a Wraith mouse pad,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a weirdo and I really enjoy this killer. And then I have a DBD wide mouse pad which has like all the killers, not all the killers, but all the killers up to um Doctor, I think,
Mm-hmm.
on it. Except there might be Legion on it, but we don't know. People on Twitter tried to figure out if it was Legion or if it was like Yun Jin with her like fuck ass bob and shit like that. But anyways, I just bought a new mouse pad. It's actually being shipped to me right now. It's in Montreal. It's Wraith and Nurse in their Phantom of the Opera outfits,
Yeah.
dancing.
Yeah.
I do see where people come from with the Wraith X Nurse thing because they both use the Spirit Realm and all, or the Shadow Realm, or I don't even know, Spirit Shadow Realm, whatever they use to teleport and
Mm-hmm.
move. I do get it. It doesn't happen. It's a headcanon, right? It's a headcanon.
Well, I mean, it's been hinted, but it's never been confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, but like in the grand scheme of
It
things,
doesn't matter.
in the entity's realm, I don't think that Wraith is getting it.
You know,
I don't think Wraith is getting strange from Nurse. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think Nurse is giving the strange to Wraith. I don't think that. However, people can think what they want.
you know, I've said this for a couple years. I think it's such a missed opportunity that we don't get any lore entries about what the killers do when they're not in a trial. I know it's so stupid and like it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I just think it would be fun.
Have you ever seen the movie Cabin in the Woods?
Yes, I would assume it's.
I would assume it's the same thing as there, where once they're done, they get teleported back to their little box and they just sit there.
That's actually
just talking with each other.
That's a great.
Like we know the survivors all go back to the campfire, but
Mm-hmm.
like I think the killers just go back to the little box in the void and just sit there and wait till they're summoned again.
I mean,
Um,
I'm just curious if do they have conversations? Like that's all I really want to know.
well,
Like
the thing is, I don't think a lot of them can talk to each other. Like, I don't think the hag can friggin' talk. She gurgles and gaggles.
well, and I mean,
I don't think the Trapper is a very talkative person. Nor is Wraith, nor is Nurse, nor is Billy, nor is the Huntress. She doesn't. We all know she doesn't talk to anybody. She kills anybody she sees. Michael has never talked ever.
Demo and Xeno don't talk.
Demo and Xenos don't talk. The Doctor probably laughs the whole time. Bubba kind of grunts.
The most talkative killers I just realized are Singularity and Chucky.
And Wesker.
And Wesker.
Yep.
God,
And Pinhead. Pinhead.
I want that conversation.
But like, I mean, Plague too, but Plague just doesn't speak English.
Poker Night 3 Deba Daylight Edition, please.
Yeah, like Freddy's gonna be weird the whole time. The pig's gonna be weird the whole time. The clown's just gonna sit there in the corner staring at everybody. The spirit won't talk. The Legion will just be in their little clique in the corner. The Plague doesn't speak English. The ghost face is only gonna say, Do you watch scary movies?
Wrong copyright. Right? Wrong copyright.
Wait, what does he say?
No, because the Ghostface in the game isn't the Ghostface in the movies.
Well, you know what? Yes, he is in my head. The Demogorgon doesn't talk. Oni's not going to talk. The Deathslinger actually might be talkative. Pyramid Head doesn't talk. Blight can't talk. The twins speak French, so they don't count. The Trickster also probably doesn't speak English. The Nemesis only knows one word.
Two. He knows two.
What is it?
Stars and kill.
Oh, I guess he does know kill. Like, right? A lot of the killers don't speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's Chucky, Wesker, Singularity, and Pinhead. That's those 4.
God, I still want that.
Oh, I guess, and Skull Merchant, but she doesn't talk in game. She's just gonna, you know what? She's just gonna be weird. She's gonna freaking talk about manga the whole time. She's gonna be one of those weirdos.
Or how much money she has that she can't do anything with now.
Yeah, or how she wants to kill more kite-flying kids.
Okay, switching topics dramatically.
Yeah.
skins for Wraith. Once again, I know this is for a lot of people. Cosmetics are like, who cares? But I, as much as I'm like also in that camp to a degree, they still breathe life into the game. I don't
Oh
care.
yeah.
But
So
favorite and least favorite.
so me personally,
Mm-hmm.
my personal skin I use is I don't use any set in the game.
Okay.
I take 3 items from 3 separate sets to make my own skin
Mm-hmm.
that you'll only ever see me run. I've never seen another Wraith run this before. I use the Cursed Horns from the Gilded Stampede set.
Mm-hmm.
So the head covered in gold with the 2 horns and the golden and black shawl. I use the Fury Waste wrap from the Burning Rage, which is Candle Wraith,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the black wax covered body with wraps and stuff and the waistcoat.
Yeah, I see the ad a lot.
And then I use the Axe of Reprisal, which is Phantom of Vengeance, which is the Fire Wraith.
Mm-hmm.
I use that axe. That's my skin. I've never seen anybody else use it. It goes really, really well together. The headpiece and the body work really, really well. That's my skin. Overall, his skins in general, his Hallow Blight skin is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Like you can see into his chest cavity and all that stuff. That's really nice. I really like his Tragic Love Opera one, which is his Phantom of the Menace one.
Right.
That's really nice.
Other than the obvious ones, like the recolors, is there any like you just don't like?
I really, really, really don't like the oh my god, what skin is it here? What's it called? I gotta put this set together here to figure out what it's called. The Sweat Soak, the Autumn Chill one. It's the hard hat worker one.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sweat Soaked Rags is the headpiece, and Reflective Poncho is the body piece. I really don't like those. I don't think they look good.
I don't hate the body piece. I actually kind of like how different it is. But
I
yeah, I see what you're saying though.
like overall. I guess the whole costume is called High Vis Scraps.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I don't think he has any bad full outfits. I just think he has bad pieces.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Like the Gilded Stampede body, not my favorite. The arms look cool, but the pants kind of look yucky. The weapon looks yucky too. He has some really crappy weapons.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody ever played Meet Your Maker, but if you got the Meet Your Maker weapon, it covers I think about 60% of your screen when you use it. You look inside the weapon when you do your wipe animation. Like he's got some really crappy weapons. But he's got some really cool ones too. Like he's got two. He got a Christmas one there last year. He got a Halloween one this year. He got another Christmas one I think this year. With his what's the outfit? The Forsaken Stag, the reindeer one. So.
Fuck. I'm gonna get onto some of the Discord questions. I think some of them were repeats, but Justin Worth Wraith's math, facing Wraith, who said that? What order? Okay, yeah, basically all those questions were. Just a couple more. Do you have any stats?
So I do, but they're not impressive.
Okay.
But the reason why they're not impressive is because I main a killer that was first put in the game in 2016.
Right, but I mean, like, still relatively speaking, they're probably still
like relatively speaking, yeah. Like I think I'm like 400th. I think on the leaderboard for Wraith. And the stat that it checks on the stat tracker is uncloak attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Which happen a lot. So
right.
I think I'm at like 9,000 or something like that on Nightlight stat tracker. But like I will never be up high because I main a killer that's original from the original start of the game. There's people that have been playing since 2016. That the Nightlight tracker has like retroactively gone back and checked their stuff.
Right.
So like I'll never be high up there, but I mean I knew that. I'm not a really big leaderboard guy. A lot of people on Twitter have like top 250, top 100, top 10 Like I saw somebody yesterday top 10 Chucky player, and I was like, cool for you, dude. He's been out like a month and a half. Like
Well,
it's
Chucky's stat is the scamper hits.
oh ew.
Yeah, yeah, maybe
It's not slice and dice hits.
no, no.
Oh
Me and a lot of other Chucky mains hate it. Yeah,
um
because it's not slicing. It has nothing to do with slice and dice. It's hits 5 seconds after scampering.
oh fantastic. So it okay wow. Yeah. So like I don't really have any stats like that I really take note of. I just think that like there are other Wraith mains. I don't know any that are in NA East.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least that I know of. There definitely probably are some Wraiths that play a lot. I've seen some high Wraiths myself. Never seen another P100. Um, I definitely know that there are a lot of comp players who main Wraith, but they play comp Wraith, not Wraith.
Right.
To comp killer and normal killer are completely different. They're two different playstyles. So you have to think completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I know like V1 says that he's a Wraith player. He's a Wraith main. We play Wraith completely different. I definitely know that there's a few Wraith mains. Otts has a few Wraith mains that he uses in his videos that are like EU Wraith mains.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I know, I'm the first P100 Wraith in NA East.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly NA West as well, but when I play on West, I don't really see Wraiths. It's usually Weskers and Blights the whole time. But yeah.
All right. Well, so this brings us into technically the last question, but and this is kind of a loaded one and kind of goes into the state of the game. But do you still have fun with this game? I know that's like a loaded question. I'm not implying anything. I'm just, you
With
know,
the like with the game, do I still have fun?
yeah.
Yeah, I do think I do. Um like I did take a break a few months ago
Mm-hmm.
when Spider-Man 2 came out cuz I played that on my PS5 and I stopped playing DBD for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was when it was right after Singularity came out. It was in between Singularity and Chucky.
I think a
Um
lot of people took a break during that time.
because I stopped playing after Singularity. I don't remember why. I don't exactly know the reason, but then Alien came out and everybody was pumped for Alien. Then Alien was kind of a flop.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been a flop, but I think a lot of the people took a break and that caused it to flop.
Yeah.
And then I came back. So that there's like that 3 month gap where I kind of took a break. But overall, I do still have fun with the game. I do play a lot of different killers. Overall, most of my games are fun. However, sometimes like I do take breaks. Like this is probably I would say my main game.
Mm-hmm.
I do play some other games, but not a lot of them are multiplayer games. Like I play a little bit of Valorant, like a little tiny bit of Valorant, a little bit of Overwatch, but usually only like 1 or 2 games. I mainly play a game called Super Auto Pets. If anybody knows what that is, it's an auto battler game.
Mm-hmm.
But like I mainly play Dead by Daylight. That's usually my go-to. Um, but I play on my PS5 as well, which I have like Red Dead and Cyberpunk and Spider-Man and all that stuff. Like with Dead by Daylight specifically, I do say I have fun. However, my fun level has decreased significantly since I started playing. I can probably only stomach about 6 or 7 games a night usually, before I actually get bored. And with Wraith, it's probably because of MMR and all that stuff. It's like I really can only play 2 or 3 games of Wraith a night before I get bored of the killer. Only because like I like tooting my own horn here. I am a really good Wraith player. I consistently get 4Ks. I have not lost a Wraith game unintentionally in I'd say about 7 months, 8 months. I did keep a win streak going for a while, up until the DDoS attacks that happened there probably about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was at like 240 or something like that. I streamed a lot of it. Um, that was fun, but eventually I just stopped doing it because there was no point counting anymore. Like I have not I'll say it again. I have not unintentionally lost a game. I have let people out intentionally because I've won or like they are cute and I want to let them go or get hatch or slug racer and all that stuff. But I have not unintentionally lost a game in a long, long, long time. So when you get that good at the killer, it's kind of not fun anymore.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
makes sense for a lot of people. Like it makes sense, but I still find them fun for a little bit. But eventually, after your third game, 4K, like 4K5, getting 4 kills at 5 generators, or
yeah.
4 generators, or 3 generators, after 3 games of that, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the only real way to, and it's, because, I mean, right now I'm doing I was gonna do a Chucky win streak with no add-ons, no perks, um, just to see if it was possible. Uh, but I stopped because I didn't want to play in the way I knew I was gonna have to make that work.
Yeah.
Um, and then right now I'm doing, no add-on, no perk Chucky for 50 games, and then I'm gonna switch over to 50 games of Chucky with the best stuff, to see how much of a difference it actually makes. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like, I, I think for a lot of people right now, like, it's not just burnout, but man, I really do think some people just need to take a break.
Yep. 100%.
And learn when they need to take the break.
Yeah. Like I will say, like when I play Chucky, I only use 2 perks. I use barbecue and chili, and I use coup de grace.
I love Kuan Chucky, but yes.
Those are the only 2 perks I use. I also use like drill and like jump rope,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't know. That for me is fun. Like when I play Wraith, if I'm looking to have a fun game, I'm gonna put on like a stupid build. Like I'm just gonna make something. Like I like to use like stupid perks that don't do anything, like Beast of Prey, Territorial Imperative, what else?
Huntress Lullaby.
I like to use Deathbound.
All of Huntress's perks. There you go.
All of Huntress's perks. I do like to use Claustrophobia. I guess it's not Claustrophobia anymore. It's Cruel Limits now, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still Claustrophobia to me. Cruel Limits just sounds weird. I do like using that. However, sometimes that does with what they changed it, where every single window is blocked and are blocked now.
Mm-hmm.
For 30 seconds, which is a really long time, by the way.
I think it's actually super overlooked. Like
Oh, it's 100% overlooked.
I don't think it's like S tier or anything, but like I think it's super underlooked on how good it can be.
However, it like situational, but like I like to use that sometimes. My go-to build when I did my win streak was Jolt, Pain Res, Sloppy, and Dragon's Grip. Because Dragon's Grip was basically what Friends of the End was before Friends of the End existed.
Right.
However, the cooldown was super, super lengthy. But Dragon's Grip was always fun to use because you kick a gen, you know somebody's there, you kick the gen, pretend to leave, they think you leave, you sit right next to the gen, you hear them scream, or you hear them run back, you half uncloak, they touch it, you full uncloak, you speed boost, you hit them.
Yeah, Dragon's Grip has the issue. It's not that the cooldown's super long; it's that it has 2.
Yeah, it does have 2 cooldowns.
That is the problem with Dragon's Grip in my opinion. Because I did fishing streams where I would play Xenomorph and I would run Dragon's Grip. I would kick a gen and then I'd hide in the tunnel and then just pop out. I wasn't going for wins. I was just doing it for fun. And the amount of times it would go on cooldown and they'd be like, "All right, well I can't do anything for like 3 minutes." All right.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear you're still having fun with the game though. Like, it's just. Yeah. Once again, it's just doom and gloom. Reading the forums, seeing Twitter, certain creators I watch. It's like, man, y'all just don't sound or seem like you have fun with this game at all sometimes, or like at all. Like some of them, I'm like, man, do y'all even like this fucking game?
Yeah. like I do think that like a lot of us who are really into the DDD community have like saw what like Otts posted recently, which kind of worried a lot of people about he's no longer going to make suggestion videos for the game because they don't happen, right? Like if a game is able to tire out its most valiant player, like the game, if it's not fun for him, it's not gonna be fun for a lot of other people.
Remember how I said I had been in the League, Valorant, uh,
Yeah,
our Rainbow Six, and
yeah,
Overwatch communities? I have seen this happen.
yeah.
And here's the thing: are any of those games dead yet?
I mean, Apex is getting there.
Fair enough. But
Apex is kind of there already, actually.
but like I don't know. The way I like to think of it is, and it's something I feel is actually not happening as much as it used to. Because when I was in the League community, um, there was this thing called content creator generations. There was like every 4 years or so, a group of content creators that were super big would like fall off the face of the earth, and like four new ones would take their place.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a lot of modern games, DBD included, that doesn't really happen anymore. Like, there's a lot of content.
Yeah. Actually, no, you're right.
A lot of the big content creators in this community. Nothing against any of them. I'm just saying they have been at that spot almost since the game's inception.
Frankly, I do agree with you. I think the only thing that will not kick, but that a big content creator will leave from, will be from getting canceled.
For the most, I mean, I'm not going to name who it is, but there is one who left.
Two recently that I know of.
Well, not two that recently. And then one that left about a year and a half ago. Three that left a year and a half ago.
I do know, like Dowsy left because he just wasn't having fun anymore.
Yep.
He doesn't know. He no longer plays the game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like Kaido.
Yep.
Kaido and I don't usually get along. I actually think he has me blocked on Twitter, because he still makes videos on DBD but does not play DBD, which is a little strange to me. Because how can you not play the game in the setting that it's in, but still make like suggestion videos on the game? Anyways, but like same thing with him. He doesn't enjoy the game anymore. I do agree that we do have like, oh my god, what's the word for it? Paragons of content creators in this. We have Aughts, we have Skirms, we have True Talent, we have Scott Jund.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are probably the four really, really big ones. But then you have others, like you have like Farmer John.
Yeah. And I'm not suggesting like, oh, they should just leave. I'm just saying
no. But they have been here for a long time,
mm-hmm.
and they're still here today. And it's been almost 8 years. And yes, they've had their struggles with the game. I remember that specifically. But they're still here, and they're still creating content, and people are still watching. So
yeah, and my point is like, and it's not just League. It happened with Overwatch too. That was a weird way to word that.
Eagle, XQC, Flats.
Yeah, a lot of them.
CarQ.
A lot of the top ones left, and not necessarily. And what happened was, instead of the game like dying necessarily, and there's arguments there, but other creators took their place.
Yep.
And that's just a very normal thing. And I feel like Dead by Daylight hasn't really ever experienced that too much. And I think, I don't want to say it's a problem necessarily. It's just, I feel like we're just not used to it.
Yeah, no, we're not.
And
when it does happen, it's really strange.
Yeah, and I mean, Odds isn't leaving. He's just not making suggestion videos anymore, at least for the most part. But yeah, it's just a weird like cultural thing with like gaming spaces. I've noticed over the years. It's like less and less people like kind of naturally leave a game. It's more like an event, and then it's like talked about way too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough of our rambling about the content creation space. That was really it. We've been going for about almost 2 hours now.
Jesus.
I want to say thank you. And if you want to drop your socials again real quick, where people can find you.
If anyone wants my socials, you can follow me on Twitter at SquidDBD, or at twitch.tv/SquidDBD. I do not stream often. Like I said, I am a university student. I have a lot of schoolwork to do. I'm a history major and a French major, so I have a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody wants to follow me there, you can follow me there as well. I'm hoping to get into YouTube at some point, but don't expect that anytime soon.
I'll put all that stuff below. And this is a weird thing to say because I think you said a few names, but is there any other Wraith mains you would like to shout out?
I actually don't know any by name. I actually don't. Nobody's ever reached out to me saying that they're a Wraith main. Most Wraith mains I see, by the way, are ones that run like 3 slowdown and sloppy, and then tunnel off hook. So I don't claim those Wraith mains. Those Wraith mains suck. FYI, shouting this into the void. You can hate me if you want. If you play like that as Wraith, you are not a good Wraith player. You are not a good Wraith player. If you use more than 2 slowdowns, also if you use pop pain res, you can't play the game. I said that earlier. You need your handheld like a little baby. But if you use 3 slowdowns and sloppy or something else, you are not a good Wraith player.
You're gonna hate.
Just shouting that out, by the way.
You're gonna hate when I have to do the 50 games of Chucky with the best stuff.
Well, okay, well that's fine because that's for a video. But like doing it all the time just because you can.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Like that, I always say that, and it's like everybody says it's in the game. Yes, it is in the game, but like you're not using skill. You're using perks, right?
Right.
Same thing with like Blight. Blight, yes, you need skill, but if you're using pop pain res on Blight, at that point your skill gets overshadowed by your perks. So.
All right, Squid. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on. I know this was it wasn't spur of the moment. I planned this a while ago, but I just appreciate the people I've actually reached out to who are willing to come in. I know it sounds weird.
No problem. No problem. It's I had fun. However, I do have to wake up in like 6 hours for physio. But I kind of forgot that I had physio tomorrow morning, so that's on me. But it is, unfortunately, people don't realize that I'm in the Atlantic time zone. I'm not in East time zone, so I'm an hour ahead of East.
Okay.
So like, it's 1:07 a.m. right now where I am.
Right.
People always get kind of confused, like when I'm on like in Twitch chat or whatever, and they're like, oh my god, we're gonna do this. Like I'm a really big participator in like Merkitty Bizzle's community. She's a mod for Skirms and all that jazz. I'm a really big watcher of both of them, and they're in West, so they run events like Jazz runs a lot of events. Also shout out to them. Go follow them, please. And all her events are in West time. So right. they're like 4 hours behind me. So like I'm scheduled to like play at like 9 p.m. a Wraith game for her. And it's like that makes it 1 a.m. for me.
Right.
So,
a lot of my friends are Australian, so I know the pain.
Yeah.
I'm nocturnal, that's why.
I'm also nocturnal, so
but,
don't worry.
Yeah, but I'll let you go. Once again, I can't say it enough. Thank you. Maybe we'll do this again once I get through all the other 36 killers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it might be hard pressed to find some killers for some killer mains for some of these people.
I am having the hardest time finding a trapper main that isn't Ots.
Yeah, you're gonna be hard pressed to find some people, but like, I know like there's a bunch of demo mains. You got a bunch of singularity mains, bunch of Wesker mains.
I'm booked.
Xeno mains.
Right now I'm booked for the next, I think, 7 killers. After that, I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
So you've done Hag and Wraith so far.
Yeah,
and you got 34 more to go.
I got 34. I've got Xeno listed. I've got Nemesis listed. I've got a Wesker main who's gonna come on. I know an artist main I want to come on. I just need her to respond.
Yeah, you gotta get. Yeah, I'm assuming that's Karn.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta get Karn to respond.
I mean, shout outs to her because when I think artist, she's the first person that comes to my mind.
Oh, 100%. Karn is 100%. When I think artist main, I think of Karn. 100%.
But yeah, I'll let you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you and have a good night.
No problem. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and to everyone who made it to the end of the video, you're a fucking brilliant champion, and I love you.
Yeah, I'll give you a big old kiss on the lips. Mwah!
All the links and stuff will be below. There's a playlist with all the other episodes that's to future-proof this. There's only one more episode at the moment. But yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week with Nemesis.
Perfect. And if you're watching this on let me just choose a date. If you're watching this on April 17th, 2024, you are awesome and I love you.
Why that date specifically?
I don't know. I just chose a random date.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a good night.
You too.
I'm going to bed.
All right, have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.